So hello everyone, my name is Daniel, I work for Outreach as a software engineer, and today I would like to talk about how to create an open source project in Golang that will be successful. So for the agenda, first I would like to share my own personal experience with starting and running an open source project. Then I would like to give you some general tips and tricks on how to do that successfully, and then I will share some final thoughts. So the project that I created a few years ago, it's a disk usage analyzer with a terminal interface. It's called GDU, which is an acronym of Go Disk Usage. And in this case, the Go has two meanings. First one, and the obvious one, is that it's written in Golang. And the second one is that it's using Go routines, because as you can see, this is basically a syntax for calling function in a Go routine. So how it all started, at that time I was a Python developer, but I liked Golang a lot, and I wanted to try it on some project, and I was wandering around, what can I try, what can I do. I was trying some terminal libraries, playing with its widgets and so on, and at some time I recalled one tool called NCDU. It's a terminal based also disk usage analyzer, which is written in C, and you may probably know it, but as you will see, it's quite slow on SSDs and also a little bit on hard drives. And so I was wondering, this is a nice tool, but maybe when I will use Golang, I can do it maybe faster. So I tried some initial benchmarks. It took me something like 1 day to test it, and it worked. It was like 2 times faster than NCDU. Why is it so? It's because when you do a disk usage analysis, you are basically doing a random reads of a lot of metadata, which are small chunks of data. And in that case, you can largely benefit from doing it in parallel. So as you can see from this graph, if I'm running some random reads of a lot of files in just one thread, it takes about 40 seconds. But if I add more and more threads, then with 30 threads, I can do it in something like 4 seconds. So that's the reason why my initial benchmark was faster, and then that's why I decided that I will give this a try, and I will start working on GDU. So if I go to the code of the GDU, this is basically the main part that does the analysis. It's processing the one directory. You can see it's iterating through the items of the directory, and in case the item is a subdirectory, then it will recursively go into it and process the directory as well. And this is the important part for us. It's starting this recursive processing in another Go routine, and that's when this speed up comes from, basically. And how much faster it is currently? So it is something like 4 or 5 times faster on Linux if I have a cold cache, but if I have a warm cache, it's even faster. It's like 10 times faster than NCDU. On macOS, it's unfortunately just 2 times faster, because the Mac file systems file system, it's somehow, for some reason, it's quite slow. I don't know why yet. I need to dive into it and see. So let's start GDU. So as you can see, the UI is somehow similar to the original NCDU. It's a little bit polished. It's using, for example, Unicode characters in some cases, and so on. But over the time, when more users were coming and more contributors, there were coming feature requests to add some more features. So in the end, GDU has like a lot more features than the original NCDU. For example, you can mark the files for deletion. You can delete the items in background. You can delete them in parallel. You can also see the content of the files. And as well, you can use a mode that is non-interactive and that is basically compatible with DU HS star. So if I show it, it will count and it will show like plain text output. Yeah. Okay, so what was the timeline for GDU? So I created the first commit around mid of November 2020, and it took something like 5 days to create a first release, which was already somehow working. It didn't have all the features that NCDU had at that time, but it was already faster than NCDU. And then in something like half a year, it got already the first 1000 stars on GitHub. So how did it happen, this 1000 stars? There was also some marketing involved. I added GDU to some software catalogs. I posted some articles to some new Linux newsletters, but there was also some luck. For example, GDU was placed on the first main page of GitHub for some time, so that brought some attention. And then 1 year later, in 2022, I decided to do Golang full time and joined Outreach as a Golang developer. And what is the current status? So GDU has something like 3000 stars on GitHub. It has quite a lot of contributors, quite a lot of downloads, and my estimation is that something between 5 to 10,000 people is actively using it. So that was it for the GDU, and now let's talk about some general tips and tricks. You may know this sketch.
I don't get it. Phase 1, collect underpants. Phase 2, phase 3, profit. I get it. No, you don't, fat ass.
So yeah, collecting underpants can be a great idea, but I'm really not sure if it can help our open source project. So let's try to change the phase 1 a little bit. Let's put choose Golang there. Much better. Okay, but still there is this unpleasant question mark. So what about that? Let's try to give some tips for that as well. So my first tip is if you don't have some brilliant idea of your own about what innovative project to start, what to do, then you might look around and see if there is some project that it's maybe great but it's a little bit outdated or slow or something like that, and you can try porting it to Golang. And when doing so, you can use the superpowers that Golang offers to really make this project to stand out from the line. And so what are these superpowers? It can be speed, if you compare it to some Python, for example. It can be that you can distribute very easily self-contained binaries. It can be the parallelism that I am benefiting from in GDU. And it can be also maintainability of the code, because if you compare, for example, with C, it's not so easy to get some newbie contributors to your project, but in Golang it's much easier. And of course, like, this is not an advice, but your project will probably need a little bit of luck and a little bit of hard work as well to succeed. But yeah, what were my final thoughts? I think running an open source project, it's a lot of fun, and you will learn a lot of when doing so. If you are familiar with the Czech PHP community, you might think that that open source sucks or something like that. At least it was the case some years ago. But my personal experience is that it's very positive. Like all the people that I met doing GDU were really positive, thankful, helpful. So yeah, it was great. So my advice is go for it. Thank you for your attention, and if you have some questions, you can leave a comment below. And of course, Outreach is hiring Go developers. So if you would like to try to do it full time, please give us a note.